Well, this is the last video of today. Tomorrow I'm going to be switching gears to talk, or just talking videos. But just needed to post this. Have you seen clips of Biden, the CNN town hall? Get ready for Biden to be gone and Harris to be president. It's coming. And I think it's coming soon because something is very, very wrong. Now, something was very, very wrong when he was campaigning and that anybody could have voted for him. Well, everything that you're going to see right here reflects upon the American people. And it's embarrassing. This is the leader of the free world. Well, we all know that that's a joke, but there's an awful lot of people who still say that. Look at this. It's frightening.
That's underway, just like the other question that's illogical. And I've heard you speak about it because you always, I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah. That's underway too. I expect that to occur quickly.
Well, that means, you mean for the FDA?
For the FDA. Yeah. That's underway, just like the other question that's illogical. And I've heard you speak about it because you always, I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what.
Yeah. Don Lemon is always straight up. This is the President of the United States. So to the young who have just seen Trump and Biden, I want to say they're outliers. They're liars for sure. This is not what the presidents were like decades ago. You know, now our politics have always been corrupt. Not as corrupt as today. But our presidents actually managed to pull off sentences. Here's another stunning clip.
All kidding aside, I think it really is a matter of people deciding now that they have opportunities to do other things and there is a shortage of employees. People are looking to make more money and to bargain. And so I think your business and the tourist business is really going to be in a bind for a little while. One of the things, we're ending all those things that are the things keeping people back from going back to work, et cetera. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But my gut tells me that part of it relates to, you can make a good salary as a waiter or waitress. One of my sister-in-laws is of 5 sisters, makes a very good salary. She works in Atlantic City. That's where she's from. But there's a lot of people who are looking to change their occupation. So, I think, but I could be wrong.
Well, let me ask you, because John is.
But I could be wrong.
Looking to hire people. He's got 39 restaurants across the country. Yeah. Is there anything you can do to help him out? I mean, he's got to get people in.
Well, John, first of all, the thing we did to help John and the Johns out is provide billions of dollars to make sure they could stay open, number one. So you all contributed to making sure John could stay in business. And we should have done that, as we did for other industries. But secondly, John, my guess is that people being $7, $8 an hour plus tips, that's, I think, John, you're going to be finding $15 an hour or more.
Oh my God. And the reason why, and the question was right down here. How do you incentivize those that haven't returned to get back to work? Yeah, there's a shortage because people are, looking for better jobs. They're bargaining. Oh my God. First of all, the economy is near finished, and look, we gave billions of dollars for you guys to. How many small businesses have been destroyed? And did you hear the clapping? Did you notice that there wasn't much sound? Like maybe there weren't very many people there. Maybe. I'll come across that. But, here it is. Yes. Echo chamber. Joe Biden speaks to half an empty room during CNN town hall. What? There was... Where? Oh my God. And he's doing it live on CNN. He spoke to a half-empty auditorium. And all empty. They got some people to come, gave them questions, and even though, they are all prepared to answer the questions, he can't seem to answer very many. They're all in the first few rows. That's the great town hall on CNN. Yes, our news, propaganda, entertainment show, but it really is embarrassing.
But first, let's check in with the leader of the free world who is sane, healthy, and not in any way suffering from cognitive decline.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon, or whatever, something, or whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it?
I'm sorry. That's just, even by Joe Biden's very low standards, that was incoherent.
I thought he was
gibberish.
on a roll.
He started off with asking that activist journo Don Lemon, you got the vaccination, are you okay? And then we ended up with some
On the moon.
very peculiar comments
He
about...
wants to make sure everyone all the way to the moon's vaccinated. It's good. He's a lovely bloke.
That's one interpretation, but I watched that 3 or 4 times. I have no idea what he was saying about the aliens and the walking on the moon, and that relates to vaccinations and safety, but the man is not okay, Stephen. That's all I can say. He is not okay. And why is nobody saying this other than, a few select conservative pundits? Why is nobody saying this bloke may have some deep-seated medical issues?
Because 80 million Americans voted for anyone not named Trump.
But that doesn't change the fact that man is not okay.
Well, I think 80 million Americans wanted him ahead of a corrupt tyrant wannabe.
Please.
I think he actually was going to say, but he decided not to, that 80 million Americans are also not well. It's scary, but this is what he said the day after. Listen to this.
Can you clarify what you said about no one in the Democratic Party is anti-police? I know that you have said you don't want to defund the police.
That is not the Democratic Party's position.
Okay.
I'm the Democratic Party. I am president. So is the Speaker of the House, and so is the majority leader. We are not defunding the police.
And are there people who, in the Democratic Party, who want to defund the president?
Are there people in the Republican Party who think we're sucking the blood out of kids?
I'm not sure. Are there people in the Democratic Party who want to defund the police?
are there people in the Republican Party who think we're sucking the blood out of kids. Well, maybe that was a Freudian slip. Maybe that was just, oops, one of Joe Biden's gaffes, disclosing the truth. But the Republicans are defunding the police. This still goes on. You want to talk scapegoating, lying, gaslighting? Oh my God. Okay, well, the frightening part is, I don't care what these people do. I care about the response of the American people, and it's just not there. But this is 7 minutes, and I'm going to play it through. Joe Biden has to be taken out of circulation after rambling about men on the moon. Understand this. He's going down, and that was the plan all along. And I have videos on my channel about Kamala Harris, who's a communist. She drops out campaigning because she had almost no possible way to win the presidency. Joe Biden comes in, winning South Carolina, which, who the hell knows? I'm really, throughout his campaign, that's essentially how he sounded, those clips that you heard. Okay, so it was very clear that something was wrong, and people are lining up to vote for a president that has cognitive difficulties. And even the ex-doctor of Obama has come out and said, it'll be soon. He's definitely not well. So, they put Kamala Harris into the vice presidency to make her the president. You want to talk malignant narcissist? You don't. What's coming with Kamala? Now, we know that these are puppets, but they're unfortunately puppets with no moral core at all, no conscience. They're just there to get the job done. And the job is full-out destruction of all of us.
I've argued in the article that I wrote today in Sydney's Daily Telegraph, Brisbane's Courier Mail and the Gold Coast Bulletin. I didn't write the headline of the story. The editors headlined it, "Suspension of Belief, Overlooking Facts and Failing to Have Proper Conversations." Now, in other words, I am arguing that what we are forbidden, what we are prevented from telling you, which I believe you're entitled to know, but unless you toe the line, you're cancelled. For example, in that article I mentioned the New Zealand Prime Minister, I've already referred to this, Jacinda Ardern, who this week urged New Zealanders to, quote, take all non-government information with a grain of salt, dismiss anything else. We will continue to be your single source of truth. And that New South Wales Health Minister, who's become a health hazard, has said the same thing arrogantly and dismissively, arguing, dismiss the ideas that aren't based on science or medicine. I mean, that's nonsense. On so many issues, science is never settled. Science is about testing theories, challenging received truths. There's no one science on climate change, coronavirus, vaccination or masks. Testing a plurality of views is what we should be doing. Are we saying in 2021 we should be denied those views? Jacinda Ardern says of her government, we'll continue to be your single source of truth. The United States President is telling big tech to get on side with government and censor voices the government doesn't like. This is nothing more than a crackdown on the free exchange of ideas. We are in deep trouble when the leader of the world's democracies, America, is instructing private companies to abridge the freedom of speech and of the press to the point where big private companies are acting as functionaries of government. The journalist Glenn Greenwald, who helped publish the whistleblower Edward Snowden's surveillance abuse in 2013, called the union of corporate and state power, and I quote, one of the hallmarks of fascism. I've said many times, the real pandemic is the failure of a politically correct society to give the public access to a plurality of views. Well, enter again into this field the cognitively declining President of the United States. This bloke continues to get a saloon passage, a free run. His incoherence is unchallenged. Here he is talking to a CNN town hall meeting. Now, of course, CNN are mouthpieces for Biden. And you'll see here another example of embarrassing, stumbling incoherence. He's asked, what's your message to parents and educators about kids returning to school when kids under 12 are not yet vaccinated? Listen to the President of the United States.
Everyone under the age of 12 should probably be wearing a mask in school. That's probably what's going to happen. Secondly, those over the age of 12 who are able to get vaccinated, if you're vaccinated, you shouldn't wear a mask. If you aren't vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask.
Well, the WHO and UNICEF have guidelines on wearing masks. Quote, children aged 5 years and under should not be required to wear masks. This is based, they say, on the safety and overall interests of the child and the capacity to appropriately use a mask with minimal assistance. The guidelines go further. For children aged 6 to 11, masks are recommended in classrooms only if the school is located in a locality where there is widespread transmission, and only after consultation with parents and weighing the impacts on learning and psychosocial development. What's the President saying? Everyone under the age of 12 should be wearing a mask. That's not what UNICEF or the WHO are saying, and not a word about consulting with parents or the impact on learning and psychosocial development. Who is fact-checking the President of the United States? They fact-check Alan Jones. The next question was about coronavirus and vaccinations. Now, I'm vaccinated. I'm pro-vaccination, but I'm also pro giving people all the information. Vaccinated people are testing positive. The vaccination, as I've said, limits the likelihood of people going into hospital if they catch the virus. That's not what the President has said. Listen to this.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah.
That's not true. But the bloke's unchallenged. And then this our incoherent rambling about men on the moon and aliens. Listen to this embarrassing diatribe.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're, no, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it?
What? Man on the moon, something. What the hell has this got to do about anything? This is a town hall meeting. The bloke's unchallenged in his rambling. Listen to this. He actually tries to explain what the question is and then makes an appalling mess of answering his own question.
And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you why can't the experts say we know that this virus is in fact it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved but permanently approved. Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake. This virus is, in fact, it's going to be, we know why all the drugs are temporarily approved but permanently approved. I mean, listen to this again. The President of the United States at a town hall meeting, and someone doesn't say, get off the stage, you're embarrassing the free world and obscuring the coronavirus message. Listen to this.
We know that this virus is, in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved but permanently approved. Yeah.
Excuse me, we know why all the drugs are temporarily approved but permanently approved. What does it mean? The only thing he got right was he reckoned the dog was a Democrat. He said, I can tell. Is that because it's got droopy ears and doesn't look too bright? Listen to this.
By the way, that is Danielle Lippy. She's a student here at the university, and she's a Republican. She's got a question for you. Go ahead, Danielle.
Okay. But your dog's a Democrat, I can tell.
And then this transparent untruth. He was asked by a questioner, genuinely concerned, if you get COVID having been vaccinated, can you get COVID? This is what he said.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah.
How dangerous is this? This is going on in the world. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. This bloke has to be taken out of circulation. I repeat, get the vaccination. You may still test positive, as many have, but the vaccine has a significant impact on limiting the chance of you going into hospital. This bloke, Joe Biden, belongs in a home, and that home is not the White House.
Okay, so
And in classroom.
his commentary on vaccines, well, you know where I stand. But he's right. This bloke needs to be taken off. Certainly taken off the stage. And we're getting Kamala very soon. He is showing remarkable speed of decline. You know, free news questions about COVID transparency, and listen to his press secretary, who is beyond... It's beyond comprehension that these people can lie and lie and lie, and they have no conscience whatsoever, no shame. They just continue to do it.
This administration has long claimed that you're trying to get the most transparent history. If that's the case, why won't you just release the number of breakthrough cases that you've had of vaccinated staffers?
Well, I think first we're in a very different place than we were 6 to 7 months ago as it relates to the virus. And as many medical experts have said, inside and outside of the government, those who are vaccinated are protected from serious illness. Most are asymptomatic if they are individuals who are vaccinated who get the virus. We are in a different place in terms of the impact of individuals who may have, as you said, breakthrough cases.
Why not just provide the number? Are you trying to hide something?
No, but why do you need to have that information?
Case of transparency in the interest of the public, having a better understanding of how breakthrough cases work here in the White House. This administration has long claimed that you're trying to get the most transparent history. If that's the case, why won't you just release the number of breakthrough cases that you've had of vaccinated staffers?
Okay, so they won't release the number of breakthrough cases of White House staffers. And the reporter asks, why? And Psaki says, well, why do you need the number? Okay, every administration claims to be the most transparent. And every administration just becomes less and less transparent. Do the American people still live here? I wonder if they still live in this country. I don't think so. Because they don't seem to know much about what's going on at all. They really should take an interest because, well, these people affect our lives. So polling data, and I don't put much stock in these polls, but Biden's job approval, 52% of Americans approve of this guy. That's frightening. Let's just say it's true. It's frightening. How could anybody approve of having the President of the United States not be able to answer questions, go off into his own little private fantasy world about men on the moon and aliens? Okay. You know, all of our leaders are pretty much the same. Listen to Pelosi answer a simple question.
In violence prevention, and you've been a champion, you've talked to us about it, but from an education standpoint, what would you tell our counties on what we can do since it's at our grassroots level, and how do we connect to make sure our neighbors are safe and moving forward as well?
In terms of the virus?
Okay, so he said very clearly in the very beginning, which I'm not sure you heard because the volume was low, in terms of the violence.
The violence, the virus.
Oh, violence.
Yes, at our grassroots level, and how do we connect to make sure our neighbors are safe and moving forward as well?
In terms of the virus?
The violence, the virus.
Oh, violence.
Yes.
Violence.
Violence, yes.
Oh, well, you're on the front line, all of you, and so it's really important to listen. When I met with some of my California, and how many Californians are here? We have some Californians here? Okay. Do we have any Marylanders here? I'm being Marylander. Here's the thing. What I know, as I was telling them, years ago I was chair of the California Democratic Party, and we have 58 counties in California, of all different, from the smallest to the largest counties in the country. So recognizing that the challenges that are faced are different depending on locality and size and demography and the rest of that. So again, your role in how we can address this problem, because we take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, and the inference to be drawn from that is the people. And if people aren't safe, I mean, they have to feel safe.
That's right.
So we, of course, we want to address the underlying causes of violence and the rest, but how we address that, again, the ideas that spring from your communities are very important for us to hear, because we don't want to do public policy that has some unforeseen consequences that are really not contributing to the solution. So in any event, and this may be different, and it is in California, but I will say it anyway, we do really believe that the numbers are very high in the country. 85% of American people, Democrats, Republicans, independents, gun owners, hunters, collectors, and all the rest, support background check legislation. And
is that true? She takes an oath to defend the Constitution, and the inference is the people. How is she protecting you? She sure is enriching herself in office, making a profit, a handsome financial profit. Oh boy, is she rich. But as you can tell, it's almost like enough with these Democrats who have been in office forever, ever, decades and decades and decades. And we get to see them age, and we get to see that their brains are declining. This woman is still the House Speaker. She won't be the president. Some other people have said, something's going to happen to Kamala Harris and it'll be her. No. It's going to be, look, you should be afraid of Kamala. You should really be afraid, because that woman reveals her narcissistic traits all the time. She's a frightening piece of work. But all of these people are. And, Pelosi says, as a devout Catholic, having 5 kids was great for her, but poor women need taxpayer-funded abortions. Okay. First of all, you want to have an abortion? Pay for it yourself. Don't make the public pay. Why are we doing that? Okay. Devout Catholic? How can you be a devout Catholic and support abortion? How? This is what she said.
of many women in America, especially those in lower income situations and in different states. And it is something that has been a priority for many of us a long time. As a devout Catholic and mother of 5 and 6 years, I feel that God blessed my husband and me with our beautiful family, 5 children, 6 years almost to the day. But that may not be what we should, it's not up to me to dictate that that's what other people should do. And it's an issue of fairness and justice for poor women in our country.
Oh, did I not mute the mic? Okay, I'll link below to this. But again, she, who made Congress gender neutral, husband, okay. They make laws and rules for we, but for thee, they get to do whatever the hell they want to do. Devout Catholic, Nancy, really? Everybody knows, if you're a devout Catholic, it's kind of hard to support abortion, even with that Pope in there. But here she is, Miss Elitist. I have a tremendous amount of money, and I've made it while in Congress, selling out my office for money. And, well, I have to sign this legislation for the poor women who they need to have an abortion. If we were all like Nancy, had no moral core inside us, had no conscience, and were so sick and depraved that we could, do anything for money, we'd be, we'd be quite well off. But we're not. Archdiocese of San Francisco, the latest. This is in response to Nancy's support of abortion, claiming to be a devout Catholic. Let me repeat, no one can claim to be a devout Catholic and condone the killing of innocent human life, let alone have the government pay for it. The right to life is the most fundamental human right, and Catholics do not oppose fundamental human rights. Well, unfortunately, the headquarters, a whole lot of Catholics do, but to use the smokescreen of abortion as an issue of health and fairness to poor women is the epitome of hypocrisy. What about the health of the baby being killed? What about giving poor women real choice so they are supported in choosing life? This would give them fairness and equality to women of means who can afford to bring a child into the world. How about that, Nancy? How about those policies that keep people down? It is people of faith who run pro-life crisis pregnancy clinics. They are the only ones who provide poor women life-giving alternatives to have their babies killed in their wombs. I cannot be prouder of my fellow Catholics who are so prominent in providing this vital service. To them, I say, you are the ones worthy to call yourself devout Catholics. Well, religion, you know where I stand. Or maybe you don't. But that will be one of my just talkings. I thought a lot about this abortion issue, and boy, you talk about brainwashed. And I thought about how I got there, being a Democrat, and I was pro-choice, actually marched on in Washington, D.C. for abortion rights. And I didn't even know. I never, ever looked into. Never did any research. Never. I was a Democrat. You know, you end up in these social networks, and at times the faces change, but the ideology doesn't. The politics don't. And I always considered myself the stupid one. And my social network, you know, a lot of them I considered to be far smarter than I. And it's kind of like osmosis. Okay, they support this. So you don't have any conscious thought about it. You just unconsciously or subconsciously think, well, somebody must have checked it out. And no one does. No one did. And when I did, and realized, yeah, the horror of abortions and the pain, because that's documented, the pain of the unborn child being ripped out. All right. Well, I changed my tune very quickly. But I also thought long and hard, you know, even when I was brainwashed as a Democrat, and all these people who were, you know, pro-life and protesting at abortion clinics, and I would say, you know, it seems they care about that life for 9 months, but then once that life is born to somebody who doesn't want that life, or to someone who can't afford that life, or whatever the circumstance is, they don't seem to care at that point. And that is true. But if we lived in a healthy society, virtually all of the problems that exist wouldn't. But we don't live in a healthy society. So this woman is very corrupt. I will say it again. This January 6th commission is, look, it's already a joke. But Pelosi rejected two Republicans. And please listen to what she says.
As the legislation allows, I did not accept 2 of the 5 people were appointed. They have made statements and taken actions that I think would impact the integrity of the commission, of the committee, the work of the committee. These people are going to act up, cause a problem. And people said to me, put them on, and then when they act up, you can take them off. I said, why should we waste time on something as predictable?
So, she has done something similar with, like, pre-crime. They're going to act up. And I am the mommy here. And these boys are going to act up. So I don't want them on the commission. Why don't you wait and see if they act up? No. No. They're bad, and they need to be punished. This woman should have been taken out a long time ago. And I don't mean taken out in a violent way. She should have been removed from office. They stay in office because while Americans run out to vote, your vote does not matter. It doesn't matter. This is the, the daughter of just a criminal who worked a crime syndicate, and that's how they made their money. What are we doing? But, all right, it's the January 6th Commission, which there's so much evidence that, no, it was not an insurrection, and one person died. Oh, it was a Capitol officer killing, a woman. That's it, So when you think about the BLM riots and the Antifa riots and the destruction that was caused, and everything now is the January 6th insurrection, and Americans still are just silent on this. When you live in a psychiatric institution and you begin to get well, but you can't get out of that psychiatric institution, it takes a lot of strength to continue on your own path of, health, while everyone around you just remains insane. That is what we are living. Everything is so friggin' obvious now, and it's not just because I have, done research and I know what's going on to a certain extent. I'm not saying, that I know everything that's going on, but this is not the Democratic Party of decades ago. This is a sick, twisted, psychopathic, narcissistic, crazy, batshit crazy party that you would think you would hear something from your fellow Americans, and you don't. So, U.S. won't investigate governors who ordered nursing homes to accept COVID-positive residents. No, we're not going to investigate that. And Steve Scalise has come out, along with a colleague of his, Janice Dean, demanding an investigation of the nursing homes for months. No, we're not going to investigate that. Two-thirds of voters want Congress to investigate the 2020 riots, BLM, Antifa, and, no investigation of that. It's only the investigation of what took place January 6th, to blame the Republicans for everything. And the Democrats are just usurping power, literally creating a one-party system. Well, we know that it's been a one-party system, but they're going, for the gold. They're going for a dictatorship. You heard Biden, right? When he was president, asked by a reporter if he was going, and this is another insane thing. Yeah, okay, you've been president for, I think about 2 minutes, and are you going to be running again in 2024, for 2024? Oh. All right, everything's a campaign in this country. And he said he doesn't even know if there's going to be a Republican Party. Well, that should have really raised eyebrows in this country, and you hear nothing. Nothing about it. And then we have these unbelievably crazy people who are so stunningly mad. It's like we're kind of living a one flew over the cuckoo's nest. And when we fly over it, we get into a Kafkaesque 1984. And nothing's going to get better.
Well, I was going to say, and to that, we should say, why don't you want our schools to teach anti-racism? Why don't Republicans want their kids to know the tradition of anti-racism in the United States? Why are Republicans trying to ban books in this country? Why are Republicans trying to ban speech? Why are they trying to fire certain professors? Why are they attacking the core roots of history in this country that strays anything beyond what we already know? In fact, you have folks like Kevin McCarthy making statements that sound like he's never even read Martin Luther King in his life, trying to ban books that actually talk about the history of the civil rights movement and institutional racism in the United States. So why don't Republicans want us to learn how to not be racist? Why don't Republicans want kids to know how to not be racist?
Well, they're saying it's too young, and it
is
makes
the question that illuminates.
Okay. Maybe Democrats don't know that everything that she talked about right there was a projection of the Democrats who want to fire people, cancel people. What books is she talking about? Because I don't even think that kids have books anymore. But it's such a disgusting rant, making Republicans the white supremacists. Why don't they want to teach anti-racism? Because they're white supremacists. Okay, American people, I really hope that you have a brain cell working in there where you can see what is happening here. Now, it was such a gross misinterpretation of CRT, that inclusive, equity, can't think of the other, there's 3 terms, but gross misinterpretation. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do anymore. This country has become so profoundly sick. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. It's friggin' mind-blowing. Look at this.
Down this road. I hope the Republican leader and I can, in the coming months, find a way to build a firewall around the legislative filibuster, which is the most important distinction between the Senate and the House.
When you were in the minority, you joined plenty of efforts to filibuster legislation.
The big difference is that we were always willing to negotiate in a bipartisan way. Mitch McConnell isn't.
Why would you not?
Okay, 2017, he is for the filibuster. 2021, he's not. Filibuster, minority party, get to stave off legislation by filibustering. Now they're the majority party, and they want it gone. Okay. The difference is we are angels, and we negotiated. Republicans are demons. They're the white supremacists who don't negotiate. And you're going to believe this horse shit, America? I know you guys who are on the red team don't believe it. But Democrats, you've got to step up, or at least walk away from that fabulous batshit crazy, hypocritical, corrupt to the core party of yours. You know, there was this article. Oh boy. Democrats no more. Now with money, institutions in their hip pocket, and cool popular culture, the left would not just damn American institutions, but infect them to transform them into revolutionary agencies, and that's exactly what they have done. The Democrats are no longer Democrats. Democrats had predictable agendas, supposedly focused on individual rights, the little guy, and distrust of the military-industrial intelligence complex. The left often, on spec, blasted the wealthy, whether the lucre was self-made or inherited. A good example was 70s pop icon Jackson Browne's The Pretender, whose lyrics railed about happy idiots who struggled for the legal tender. Democrats talked nonstop about the working man. They damned high gas and electricity prices that hurt consumers. Almost every liberal cause was couched in terms of the First Amendment, whether it was the right of shouting obscenities, viewing pornography, or bringing controversial speakers to campus. Well, guess what? They were also, we'll investigate the CIA and the FBI. And they were also the Dove Party, not the Hawk Party. Now they have become a war-mongering, violent menace to the world. To the world. The revolving door was a particular leftist obsession. Democrats blasted generals who retired into defense contractor boards and got rich. But they got rich. And they got greedy. And they got power hungry. And they got batshit crazy. But they're telling you, they are letting you know, Democrats, they're a very different people today. Joe Biden, forget about him. He'll be gone soon. Pelosi is she is so, reprehensible is not a word. There's got to be a better word. She is so corrupt. Criminal. They're criminal elitists who are destroying. Oh, they're not just going after the red team. They're coming after you too. They are turning this country into a dictatorship, and I'm not saying that it's only the Democrats, so don't leave those comments. Check out my channel. Look at my Trump playlist. I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat anymore. I walked away before walk away. Hashtag. But if you can't see that CRT, what they are bringing to the children, which I have a lot of videos on my channel about that, making they're dividing these students into the oppressor and the oppressed. White kids are the oppressor, non-white oppressed by the white kids, reducing all standards to bring about equity, which is that in itself is a very communist tactic. Mao, along with Lenin, bring down all of the standards so everybody is poor. All right, I could go on forever. I am so sick of this. I am so, years ago, I keep thinking about those former Democratic friends that I had. They considered themselves oh so smart, and they were the smartest, the educated elite. They didn't even know what the hell the elite was all about. And they literally were so self-centered that everything had to be about them. And all they cared about was their own little piece of the pie and be happy. Don't bring those serious subjects up. I don't want to talk about, the truth. Oh, they were so spiritual, Christian, had no interest in truth. Obama, also another. Oh, very slick, but corrupt to the core. No scandals, really? Oh my God, we're in such trouble. We are in such trouble, and there's no possible way of, rectifying any of this. The American people they have to want to live in a healthy society, and clearly they don't. So this is what we get. We get to watch people like Chuck Schumer. We get to watch Pelosi. We get to watch AOC We get to watch these people who are so sick and twisted bring about the destruction of our lives, our freedom, everything. That was then, this is now. Right. Liberals soon became rich progressives who transmogrified into really rich, hardcore leftists. Suddenly not just millionaires, but multi-billionaires. Cool and hip and the dirty money. God, I always wanted to live at least in a community with people that I could trust, that I could, have healthy relationships with, and it's gone. Because this is a reflection of the American people. What does it reflect? That the American people are not well. We've allowed this to go on and on and on. And if you do not hold people accountable, and those people actually say, you're right, and I have to work on myself, or get them to step down and put in healthy people, whatever, it only gets worse. It only gets worse. So here we are, living worse. I don't think it's much to ask to have even some semblance of health in this society of ours. But really, I mean, to see how many people are just a mess. They're just such a mess. And in that mess, they cause an awful lot of damage to other people. And if you can't see the mess that people are in, you're a mess. It's very obvious. This woman is a mess. This woman is a mess. These people are so... It's like having the worst of the worst, but they wear expensive clothing and live in fancy homes. But because we are all about money, a whole lot of people admire. They don't look into who these people really are. They just admire the shell, the package. Meanwhile, they can barely answer a question. We really have gotten this low. We've gotten this low. Did you see this? Senate panel votes to make women register for draft. What? Draft? Well, that's right. Draft.
The Senate Armed Services Committee has approved language in its annual defense policy bill that would require women to register for the draft. The National Defense Authorization Act, approved by the committee behind closed doors Wednesday, quote, amends the Military Selective Service Act to require the registration of women for selective service, according to a summary released Thursday. The United States has not instituted a draft since the Vietnam War, and Pentagon officials have repeatedly said they intend to keep the force all volunteer.
All volunteer, and yet, behind closed doors, they have provisions in the National Defense Authorization Act to make women register for the draft. What draft? Could they be thinking that we might be going to war? Well, yeah, this is our fabulous government, right? Joe Biden pulled us out of Afghanistan, Carol. Really? I don't think so. These wars never end. They never end. The Democrats make an awful lot of money off of these wars. Why would they want to end it? U.S. launches airstrikes against the Taliban. We're still killing innocent people with our drones. Americans, hey! Hello? My entire life, I have yet to meet someone who really cared about all of the innocent people that we kill. And the idea that we're fighting them over there so we don't have to fight them over here. Really? Well, eventually, all of this catches up. And we're in for a really hard time. Comfortable and privileged, the American people, regardless of race. A whole lot have been knocked out of that, and a whole lot still to come. Everything's going to be happening, I think, very quickly. Let's just say we're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.